I'll sit there.
You have to think.
Okay. Can I get a motion in a second for the minutes for the April 28th, 2020 meeting?
Brian Waller seconds.
Who moved?
I did, David.
David, thank you. If you can just say your name just because it's easier because everything comes in juggle. So David and then Brad Waller. Okay, we're going to go to student board member report. Sergio.
Yeah, really quickly, this week is our RBUSD Digital Unity Spirit Week, so all week across the district, we are celebrating unity. Today is Neighbor Day, so all students will be wearing some form of their school gear just to show that we're still unified, even though we might not be on campus. If you check out the Redondo Beach Unified School District Instagram, you'll see a student who was dressed up yesterday for Career Day in a scientist outfit, so it's really nice to see students getting involved. So there's a dress up, and then there's also exercises which were pre-recorded by a lot of our PE teachers across the district. So it's a really good way for us to come together in this time, even though we are in distance learning. And ASB positions were finalized this week, so hopefully by the next meeting we should be meeting the next student school board member with Mr. Brett presenting it to the board. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you, Sergio. Dr. Beller.
Just a few quick pieces to share. First of all, the reopening think tank continues to meet. As I shared today, it's becoming more and more obvious to us, at least it won't necessarily be the feds or the state or California Department of Education or necessarily LACO that we will kind of follow. It really appears to us more and more each day that the county LA Department of Public Health is really the roadmap for us. And so we're really kind of putting our focus in that roadmap, a recovery framework that they call. And that's really going to be what we really push forward as we move forward, as we get closer to what appears to be an opening of school at some time, August timeline. Obviously, Center for Disease Control and other experts out there, we will, of course, supplement any sort of expertise that we can along the way. This week, we will be sending out a Child Development Center parent survey for our 12-month families. It appears we're inching closer to an opening, and we want to determine the level of interest in our CDC. And Teresa Van Dusen has taken the lead on that, and so there will be a short parent survey coming out this week. Data, the distance learning parent survey is providing us some insightful data. We will continue to collect surveys through tomorrow, and we'll have more information for you on your Friday update. The RUHS graduation, I'm glad Sergio's here. I guess we're kind of in our heads planning for two scenarios. One would be a video type activity, and what if down the road there is some sort of ability to provide a live experience. What I'll say, which is what every superintendent and high school principal will say, this is evolving. And then the governors may revise this week. We're not anticipating sunshine and rainbows. I don't think anybody is. Obviously, the governor's pushing hard for a federal stimulus package. I think we are all hopeful for that as long as it helps schools and our state. And so want to thank anybody and everybody who has any sort of ability to influence anything they can do for public education and our great staff. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Keller. Moving on to the hearing section, I don't have any advance written requests, and we don't have anyone downstairs that I'm aware of, so we will move on to communications. And seeing that we don't have any of our associations here, we will now move on to general consent. Is there anyone that would like to pull any items on the consent? I'm going to be pulling 10.1.
And this is Mike. I'd also like to pull 10.4.
Okay. Hearing nothing else, can I get a motion for 10.2, 10.3, and 10.5 and 10.6?
So moved, David.
Right.
Seconded, Mike.
Student advisory vote?
Aye.
Mr. Christensen?
Aye.
Mr. Waller?
Aye.
Mr. Whitkin?
Aye.
Ms. Flynn?
Aye.
And aye for myself as well. So that's 5-0. 10.1, can I get a motion and second to pull that, please?
So move, Brad.
Second, David.
Right. There's one change that I wanted to make on the personnel report. Halfway down under special, or the second one down under special assignment. For Michelle Garcia. I wanted to change the date from November 1st, 2020 to November 1st, 2019.
Well, 10.1,
10.5.
I'm sorry, you know what, I screwed up, I pulled up the wrong one, so I had it as 10 point, I had it originally out of order, so it was 10.5, so,
oh, okay.
let's take a step backwards, should we re-vote, Ricardo, or just? Okay, so at 10.1, let's just go ahead and vote on it, as is with no changes.
I have a question on 10.1 since you pulled it though.
Go ahead.
Since we're moving on 10.1, it's a question. I'm going to support this, but to Dr. Alpern, perhaps you could get us something in the Friday update. Interestingly, this $15,000 charge to the DSA. I'm just kind of curious what that's all about. It's a pretty good invoice from the DSA when we're not doing that tremendously large amount of stuff right now. I don't know whether you can comment about now or you want to just throw something in the Friday update.
Yes, at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago, I believe, you approved 1.5 million for classroom cooling at RUHS. And so this is part of the that project.
All right, so that is against the cooling project.
Yes.
Okay. And DSA clips us that much just on a cooling project, huh?
I'm learning a lot in my new job.
All
Yes.
right. Well, let's hope this is not just one-way money to Sacramento.
Yep.
I'm just gonna, Mike, let me jump in, Stephen here. As you know, the high school presented itself. This is the last of the phases. Is the second part, I think, is phase 3 technically. And the saying the best is for last. It's not the best way to say it. The hardest is for last. And these are those unique buildings, specifically the oldest building on the campus that has created a necessity to use DSA, whereas previously we really didn't have to. We were able to appropriately avoid the use of DSA. So this is the one that we knew was coming our way with a significant dollar amount attached to it. And so there was no way around it other than to go through DSA and to do it properly and to obviously keep our kids safe.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions?
Nope, none for me.
All right, Sergio,
Aye.
Mr. Christensen,
Aye.
Mr. Whitkin,
Aye.
Mr. Waller,
Aye.
Ms. Flynn,
Aye.
and I for myself, so that is 5-0. Can I get a motion in a second for 10.4?
So moved, David.
Seconded, Mike.
Thank you. Mike, where's yours?
I had a question on this again probably to Dr. Alpern. You know, there's some interesting things happening in the insurance world. And I noticed that, you know, we're looking at doing our student insurance program going forward. One of the interesting things you notice in the auto insurance world is where the companies, of course, they're very competitive and they're handing out rebates, unsolicited rebates, just because of recognizing the change in the activity levels has really dramatically reduced their payouts. So rather than just sitting on that cash, they're rebating it. Well, when you think about it, we're kind of in the same boat. We will have had close to 3 months of no students on campus. Yet I don't hear anything about rebates from our insurance carriers or going forward, the fact that we're putting in place so many risk management measures. So I just wondered, is there, number one, a possibility of a rebate against our premiums for this current school year? And then is there an opportunity for negotiation? Now, I realize throwing these questions at you, I can't expect an answer right now, but if you could, and I'm willing to vote on this, affirmatively, but if you could maybe give us a little feedback and see if perhaps there's an opportunity to get some kind of insurance rebate on this or any of our other insurance coverages where our risks have been dramatically reduced.
Absolutely. I'm happy to actually address both. The first being the question about our insurers. And I'm happy to go and do some research and work with our insurers and to determine whether or not we can get a haircut, get some rebates, etc. That's the first part. The second part is this item specifically is not about district insurance. This is an insurance policy that parents have the option to purchase. So there's no cost to the school district for this board action item or consent item. It is an annual opportunity that we have to offer to families. It's part of Ed Code to offer an opportunity to purchase insurance. It's accident insurance that, especially for families that don't already have coverage for their children. I can go back, if you don't want to vote on this one, I can go back and see if there's an offer of coverage for a lesser rate, but it is for the 2021 school year. So it's a rate based on what they're anticipating will look like in the 2021 school year. If they had any kind of rebates or this kind of a program, those rebates would go back to individual families who purchased the insurance. But I'm happy to go back and work with them to see if I can advocate on behalf of our families that did purchase insurance, if there are any rebates.
Yeah, well, that would be my first thing, and then whatever you're able to do in terms of negotiations on the rest of the coverage. I'm fine moving forward with it, but I'd kind of defer to the board president and the rest of the board as to whether we want to look at rates. I also know that the insurance market is a little wacko, and sometimes rates are actually higher right now going forward. But I'll defer to the board president as to whether we want to bring this one back or just go forward with it.
Is there any feeling amongst other board members you want to table it, or do you want to move forward with it and then obviously play out the year as it goes?
This is mostly for those kids that are playing sports or doing or general insurance as well, or is it separate from the ones that are kids who play football and organized sports?
Generally, the families who purchase the insurance are families of athletes. However, within the package, there is an opportunity for families to purchase accident insurance 24/7 that covers them 24/7. You know, you go away for the weekend and your child breaks his or her leg, and that if they had that 24-hour accident insurance, they would be covered. So there are options within the plans for families.
So I guess
beyond the traditional football student.
The only question then that I would have would be, I think it's a fine policy to have. Is there any clause that gives, say, families rebates if they signed up for the policy for the year, but their sport never happened?
I would need to research that.
Yeah, I would like to see the whole rebate question pushed pretty hard.
Rimmer, do you have thoughts on that? Because I'm assuming that.
Thoughts on voting today, or
Yeah.
I don't purchase this insurance as an athlete, but I did ask a question prior. I mean, this is supplemental to your own medical. I had asked Annette to look to see if there were any options that provide major medical insurance for some of our students, but that isn't something our district can offer, or any district for that matter.
That's my understanding, but I know it's being looked at, so. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a vote on this. Sergio?
Aye.
Ms. Flynn?
Aye.
Mr. Waller?
Aye.
Mr. Whitkin?
Aye.
Mr. Christensen?
Aye.
An aye for myself. Motion carries 5-0. Reopening 10.5, if I can get a motion in a second, please.
So moved, Brad, or second. David wants to take it.
Sounds like David first, Brad second.
David first, I'll second.
Okay, so going back to what I originally thought was 10.1, which is 10.5, under special assignment for Michelle Garcia, it indicates a professional development day on November 1st, 2020. And so just want to modify that to 2019 as 2020 has not happened. So, or that date specifically. So we need to take okay, so we're going to do an approve with correction on this one instead of doing a as amended. So, Sergio.
Aye.
Ms. Flynn.
Aye.
Mr. Christensen.
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Mr. Whitkin.
Aye.
And I for myself as well. Moving on to action items. Can I get a motion and a second for 12.1, approve memorandum of understanding agreement to ensure the cost-effective provision of appropriate services to infants with exceptional needs to access infant programs provided by RBUSD.
Brad moves, or Brad seconds.
Okay. Jalper.
Yes, this past year was our first year for implementing an infant program for special needs students, and it is housed at Alta Vista Elementary School. And we have served students who live in school districts other than our own. So when we do that, we have to have a contract. So this is the contract that we are proposing with Hermosa Beach. And we currently have one student from Hermosa Beach that attends that infant program.
Great. Any questions? Sergio.
Aye.
Mike, you there?
You lucked up.
No, it froze up for a minute. Aye.
Okay. Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Mr. Whitkin.
Aye.
Ms. Flynn.
Aye.
And I as well. So the motion carries 5-0. Moving on to announcements and communications. I have one correspondence from RBEF, but does anyone else have anything else they would like to, that they received that they'd like to read in?
Nothing.
Okay, so for RBEF, a couple of quick things. The RBF Gala / online auction netted $65,500, which included ticket sales, which were converted to donations, scholarships, and the online auction. Summer sessions with RBF are happening. We will not have a K-6 session. We will be offering math and ELA for 7th and 8th graders with 2 sessions a day, 8 to 10 and 10:30 to 12:30. They'll also be offering high school classes online as they have in the past. Health, English 12 A and B, Grammar through Literature A and B, Sociology, Ethnic Studies, Writing Composition, and Virtual Remote Learning with RUHS teachers for Algebra 1 Prep, World History A and B, US History A and B, Spanish 2 and Spanish 3. High school classes in 2 sessions of 3 weeks each. RBF has also begun plans for the 2020-2021 Investor Drive. They will do everything they can to raise money for the needs of RBUSD with this new challenge of distance learning and COVID. They are also excited to announce $2,000 checks for their memorial scholarship last week for RUHS, Anna Baker and Julia. And they are now hosting the Student of the Year luncheon. Redondo Beach Committee was no longer in existence, and they will now be handling this luncheon. It will be virtual this year. Let's go to board member reports. Ms. Flynn.
Am I muted? Okay. I just want to echo Dr. Keller's comment that if we are reaching out to any of our federal representatives to encourage them to pass the next round of funding. Right now, we were told on a call yesterday, we're looking at an $18 billion impact to the Prop 98 guarantee. So that's just $18 billion toward our education guarantee. So clearly we're going to have a complex budgeting situation. So getting that HEROES 2 passed, or CARES 2, or whatever it's called, that includes money for states. If you have an opportunity to reach out to, that would be something that would be helpful for us. And that's it.
Great. Mr. Waller.
Let's see. The city's EIFD meetings keep on being canceled, and with the change of heart from the seller or the buyer of the AES property, who was originally offering 25 acres for $50 million that this board was then created to get the money for. I don't know if they're just going to be suspended for a long time indefinitely, if they're going to continue it or not. So actually, I do not know if those meetings are going to continue or not. And then otherwise, the local school board presidents have been meeting on every Friday by Zoom, and I've hopefully got it transitioned over so that Brad Sirkin can take over for me. But I was there at the last meeting as well. And basically, it's a lot of sharing of common issues and ideas. We've talked about graduation. We've talked about resuming school, budgets, all that kind of stuff.
Right. I got your information on Friday, so I will be attending this coming Friday. So.
All right.
Mr. Whitkin.
No report.
Mr. Christensen.
No real report. I did have one thing to throw out. Perhaps it could be a future agenda, but more it would just be a Friday update thing. Just kind of wondering how our physical facilities are doing. I know that our physical facilities team has been out there keeping an eye on stuff. I know just totally anecdotally, I've seen a couple sites where maybe the trash cans, outdoor trash cans have been on their side or something. Haven't seen anything really egregious. But maybe you could kind of let us know over the next week or two, Dr. Keller, how the physical facilities are doing. And that's all I've got.
And actually, to add to that, going to
Quick follow-up answer is yes, 100%. Dr. Wesley actually is following up on this. She's actually going to work with her team to put a video together too. So not only for the board, but for the community to know exactly what we're doing at our schools to get them ready and sanitary for the eventual return. Dr. Wesley is on that.
Yeah, and if you're going to be doing that, can you include?
It's on the Friday update, so.
If you could include something about discouraging community members from using it, because I know when I drive by the schools, it's very common to see a soccer practice or a football practice going on our closed field.
Yeah, Dr. Alpern's going to come to the podium for a second.
I think this now. We do have a facilities coordinator, Karina Vent, and she has continued to visit locations and is on the lookout and is having appropriate direct conversations when use is seen. I know. Thank you, Brad Waller. I know you posted something on your social media. Our principals have sent out messages about usage. Just this week, we had a call, I guess it was over the weekend, that Redondo Sunset has been a great partner. They have abided by our policies, but there are some neighboring districts, baseball programs, that have decided that we've got some open space. And there was some reports of usage there. So in the last 24 hours, we've had signage, some portable fencing that we've added. So we're really just trying to be responsive, both proactive and reactive on an ongoing basis, and we'll continue to do that. We're doing the same at Adams as well.
And when the time comes to finally come back, I suspect we've got a number of neighbors that have decided that our parking lots are pretty handy places to park their autos. So we're going to have to extract them from that habit as well. But hopefully is a little ways off.
Yeah, well, at least till the fall. So nothing to report other than just to thank you to everybody. I know this has been a very, very trying time the last 8 weeks and will continue to be. And so thank you to everyone's efforts on all they do. Future calendar of events. Memorial Day is 2 weeks from yesterday. Board meeting back here in 2 weeks at 1 o'clock. And then June 9th and June 23rd.
Brad froze. He's got a spinner.
Brad's got a spinner.
That happened to me one time too. I just had a backup computer to fly into. There he is.
Brad's back. We lost him for a while.
Okay, yeah, so we seem to be skipping around. So I basically just thank the staff and for everyone for all their hard work. And I have now went through the calendar of events, which is 3 board meetings and student ending day of June 10th. So I need a motion, a second for adjournment.
So moved. David.
Second, Mike.
Sergio,
Aye.
Ms. Flynn,
Aye.
Mr. Christensen,
Aye.
Mr. Waller,
Aye.
Mr. Whitkin,
Aye.
and I as well. Meeting is adjourned at 1:27. Have a good day, folks.
Yes.
All right, be safe.